Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on the first episode of Bassic Talks, presented by Bassic Records. I am your host, ZigMon, and we are here with our first guest, Nanoplex from the UK. Nanoplex are on the forefront of the progressive and psychedelic techno scene around the world. They're on the forefront of IbogaTech, which is Ibogaine Records' techno arm. Ben is known for his Ben Coda project, and Chris is known for his Ipcrest project, as well as being the marketing manager and one of the bookers for Noiseless Festival in the UK. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, considering the circumstances, pretty good. Yeah,
considering the circumstances, fair.
Locked in the fucking house.
Average Sunday night lockdown, guys.
Drinking on a Sunday night. Right.
I have my morning tea here. It's not quite alcohol o'clock yet.
I don't suppose it is.
So how is the COVID-19 affecting you guys in the UK, and how is it affecting you guys specifically?
Well,
do you want to go first, Chris?
As you well know, Ziggy, we were we were supposed to have done a Tasmania gig last night and one in Melbourne the night before. So
I do know very well.
It's affecting us in quite in a sense we're the other side of the world and not over there with you. That's the main thing at the moment.
It's the main thing at the moment. We've literally had all our gigs cancelled, my gigs, our gigs, right up to, the only thing that's still in the calendar for me now is Noiseless, but I don't know, Chris, you can probably give us an update on that at some point. But
it's
pretty much, I think the word is wipeout. It's pretty much wipeout. It's it's not just
a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's affecting a lot of people. You know full well, Ziggy. It's tough times, really tough times.
Definitely. Yeah. And so have most of your gigs been postponed, or a lot of them been cancelled completely?
We don't know.
It's a mixture of both. Some of them have been postponed, some of them have been cancelled, some of them we don't even know about yet. We both promote nights in the UK as well, so it's kind of like, you've had to postpone a Zora party, haven't you? I think it might get postponed, so it's just like.
Basically, me and Ben had a run of gigs coming up, constant from basically 2 weeks ago, right the way through to May.
Yeah,
we've lost every single one of them. It's quite disappointing. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, sure.
That's basically the long and short of it.
And your other jobs as well, how has it affected those?
Well, I'm lucky that I do have a day job, and I've always had a day job, and we've pretty much moved to working from home. So, it's actually, I'm lucky in that respect.
For sure.
And I've got a bit of income coming in, which is great. But it's pretty much that. I know a lot of people over here who've actually been sort of, I wouldn't say. Well, no, they don't get laid off their jobs because they've closed a lot of companies and they've sent a lot of people home. They're getting paid something like 80% by the government, and they're getting to kind of stay at home for 80% less salary. But the people it's hit the hardest, the self-employed. So
for sure.
We've obviously had a big hit on earnings from the gigs. But I'm one of the lucky ones in that I've always had my day job, so I'm carrying on doing that. But,
at the moment, mine. Everything I'm doing is continuing. If it's not continuing, it's been postponed. So, I'm not going to deny it's a massive hit on me. This whole,
for sure.
The main thing is, as a promoter, which is my main job, is that the unpredictability of not knowing what's going on is just a fucking ball breaker, to be honest. I have no idea what to do apart from just try and postpone or plan or just, with Noiseless, can we do it? Can't we do it? We don't know. What the hell are we supposed to even do? We just got to continue. No one's buying tickets anyway, so
yeah. I assumed
it's basically fucked.
It's totally. It's hit the end. It's so hard. It's unreal.
For sure.
You know,
yeah, I think that
people that do have to rely on it as a straight up day job, a straight up job rather.
Yeah.
It's something else.
It's killer for some friends in this industry who've run really successful businesses. In for instance, in video screens, stuff like that. My friend Dave at Video Illusions, he's had to lay off his entire staff. The whole warehouse is just they've got no fucking money coming in, so he's fucked.
Yeah. Never actually known anything like it ever. To be perfectly honest,
and I doubt we'll do again. Hopefully,
totally.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well. As right now, the most difficult thing is not being able to predict where it's going to go in the next few months. Like if it's going to get worse, or if things are actually going to start to recede worldwide in, say, a month from now, or in the more developed countries, it starts to recede. Maybe in 2 months from now, we can actually start moving ahead with business. But our government here in Australia is talking about 6 months. This is just their estimate.
Yeah, no, we had that today. We had the 6 months today.
Yeah.
And what? 6 months in lockdown? It's kind of, I mean,
I don't even, I'm bored.
Really?
You've been doing it a week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I've still got work.
You've already got this popped up as well.
I've got plenty of books to read, but, it's kind of,
Yeah, same here, but I've got work, I've currently got work to do, but even the work's not on the same level it usually is because we can't promote properly. Because we're not trying to sell tickets for Noiseless or anything right now. We're just sitting in there, doing some good sort of,
damage control, basically.
Yeah, it's all damage control.
We're just doing some good marketing, interactive stuff with, with artists and stuff, but we can't sell tickets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anyone to buy one. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, if you don't know that it's actually going to happen or not. I mean, it's...
No, and they know that we don't know that.
It's really touch and go with that time of year as well, isn't it? It's kind of,
It's right in the fucking midst of not knowing.
That is, yeah, absolutely.
Because of course, Ziggy, you want to be the party that is the party after it fucking finishes. This is the key. Everyone wants to be that party. So you've got to gamble with being that party. That's the deal.
If you've got a bit of leeway and you can move it around a bit,
You can move it back a bit.
Shift it a bit.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So how are you guys dealing with COVID-19, like just in your everyday life, like, being in lockdown, being in quarantine or whatever? What are you guys doing to fill your days at the moment?
Well, I'm obviously working, but also, drinking lots of wine, watching TV series, writing music. I'm trying to be creative. That's the most important thing, really. Spending the time wisely. So, I think wine and being creative kind of fall into those.
I mean, for me personally, it's not really, I work from home and, I can still go out for a walk every day and do all that. A few things have changed. Just can't go to the pub in the evening, to be honest.
It's kind of similar for me as well. Like I would usually work from home anyway. So now I'm just, not going to play a gig on the weekend and my health is not really upset about that, I don't think. So kind of relishing in the
It's like we can go out once for shopping. These are the rules anyway. Once for shopping and once for exercise. So, I've been going out running and keeping up with the physical activity. Obviously, like Chris been going out walking. And like you, you allowed out in Australia, or is it what's the rules over there at the moment?
Oh, it's confusing. It's very wishy-washy right now.
Yeah.
Like I had someone tell me recently, someone who lives in a developing country, Australia seems really like behind the ball and very slow on getting into the whole lockdown thing. And I was like, yeah, they really are. They're kind of bringing it in phases. Mm-hmm. And I understand why they're doing it because they're trying to avoid like serious social unrest. But at the same time, it is very confusing for people here. So I'm we're allowed to go out to exercise and to go to the supermarket. We haven't really been told how many times a day we're allowed to go out, but I think it was just from yesterday, or actually it might even be from today, they've tightened it. So now you can only go out to exercise and to go to the supermarket, and you can't be in groups of more than two people in any type of social setting.
That's exactly what we've got, yeah. And they're starting to bring in fines and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's madness. But.
Yeah. So I've got no idea. I don't even know what's going on. It's just a bit weird.
Just stay in the house, Chris, and you'll be all right. Just stay in the house.
Just stay in the house, don't die. That's basically the sort of the major purpose in my life at the moment, not dying.
Yeah, I think that's just come forward about 50 years for everyone.
Now, hopefully, that's quite optimistic as well.
How do you feel that the UK government and England's government has been dealing with this situation?
It sounds pretty similar to the way the Australian government's been dealing with it, to be honest. They seem to have been drip feeding us with sort of ideas about what's going to happen, and then it will happen about a week later. That's what I've noticed personally. But it seems to be following suit with what's been happening in other countries. You know, it's
You'll be like where we are in a few weeks' time. It's like that's how it works, isn't it?
Well, it sounds like it just happened. So
and hopefully, like we'll be out of it. I mean, who fucking knows? It's just ridiculous. I would hope that this doesn't go on into June. You know. I mean, we're not even in April yet. I mean, and then you've got the whole of May. I mean, fuck me.
I'm gonna have a nice late birthday in like 2 weeks. I was going to be in Australia for it. It's like
there's not even any fucking cricket going to happen. I mean, I'm fucked. No cricket, no fucking festivals. What am I going to do? I don't do anything else.
It's my birthday on the 16th of April as well.
Me
and Leka are pulling together a conniving plan about taking our paddle boards just out to an island where the authorities can't get to us for not exercising or being at the supermarket or something like that.
You exercise your way over there and then
back.
Now
go over there and eat birthday cake, so I don't know if that
sounds good, man. Yeah.
So now I've come up with an ingenious plan, actually, as a marketing ploy for Noiseless tonight.
Marketing ploy? Did you just say a marketing ploy?
A marketing ploy. I'm going to do. So I'm staying very close to the Boomtown site. You know, the Boomtown Festival, Ziggy, the big UK festivals.
I know.
Anyway, their psychedelic stage. You could just basically it's on the South Downs Way. You can walk sort of right past it. It's all there. The whole thing. I'm going to do a takeover. I'm going to do a Noiseless takeover on the Boomtown Psychedelic Forest stage. I'm going to get it all filmed and everything. It's going to be it's GoPros and what's it, and I'm going to get a little controller for it.
So I can set up a tent and leave it there.
Mini rig. I'm going to do a takeover and film it on the opposing festival's renegade takeover on another festival's psychedelic stage. That's what I'm going to do.
But are you going to be the only DJ playing? You're going to be the only person in the shots?
Yeah. There's only it's me. Yeah. I mean,
fantastic. Well, you're not allowed to have anyone else, so it makes sense.
As long as you're 2 meters apart, you'll be all right, mate.
From the camera.
With Noiseless, obviously it has caused quite a stir. The fact that it's one of the only festivals it's fairly imminent. It's only just over 3 months away, and you guys are saying we're going ahead. And so, what was the what's the thought process behind making that your direction in the current climate?
We're 16 weeks away from Noiseless, or maybe 15, 16 weeks. We're right on the cusp of potentially being allowed to do something. I mean, we don't know what the rules are going to be by then. You know, if things are starting to be relaxed in June, does that include events? Does that include events of our size? We know nothing yet. At the same time, we don't want to have wasted a whole year's marketing budget and, you know, everything that we put into doing this event and organising it, we've already spent fucking how much money doing that. If we could possibly do it, so we're going to try and do it. That's basically, you know, we don't know. I mean, currently this thing's hanging around like a bad smell, but
yeah, I'm
trying to be optimistic, and we are trying to be optimistic because someone's got to do a party eventually. This is the bottom line. We might be too soon, but we can move it back a bit. I don't know whether that's going to be possible to the time constraints of what's expected by the government. So we don't know. We're having internal discussions about this on a daily basis. So
yeah, I'm sure.
I currently do not really have the answer situation, and nor does anyone else in the UK. Boomtown itself, I know, is basically going in at half the number of people. They've already sold half their tickets, so they're just going to reduce their capacity to 30,000 and do the event on that if they can. Again, they don't know any more than we do, so we're all fucked.
Everything's
we're
up.
We're at shit creek without a paddle, basically.
Yeah, totally.
And then shit creek got a bit worse as well, so we went up a shittier creek.
Shit creek, shit creek, a big waterfall of shit. Yeah.
We went up a shittier bit of it. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Totally. There's I've noticed that there's been a bit of backlash from the public about the fact that you guys are planning on going ahead and your ticketing and insurance structure. How do you guys feel about that from the management perspective?
We feel that we're doing the right thing by protracting, you know, a positive outlook, because that's all we can do at the end of the day. We can obviously postpone this event by a year, hopefully, but at the end of the day, we hope that this can show an upwards and downwards curve, which will allow some events to happen in July, August. We don't know. We're feeling it out. We've got a very loyal fan base, you know, who come every year. They'll sit in with us. We know that they are. We've got a few moaners. Everybody has moaners. And you've just got to fuck off the moaners, to be honest. It's like it's usually 2 or 3 people out of fucking 4,000. I can't deal with them, I'm afraid. It's just the way it is. If moaners are the world over.
I've experienced it. Yeah, I've been there. Noisily looks like an absolutely fantastic festival. I've been following it for a couple of years, and I was very excited to be attending this year as well. How would you describe Noisily to someone who has never been to Noisily before?
I'll let you start with it, Ben, as you're from, you know, it shouldn't just be me talking about it. You know it as well as I do.
It's quintessential English rave up, to be perfectly honest. It's like it's where all the underground creatures come out to play in England over the summer. Put it like that. Creatures in a good way, not in a bad.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's a bit, you know. But the thing is about Noisily, the great thing about Noisily is you've got techno, psytrance, breaks, madness in music. You've got everything there. You've got like amazing arts and crafts and all kinds of stuff like that. So drum bass, obviously. So it's a big melting, and it is, you know, it's the best underground music festival in the UK. Full stop.
Yeah. So I think that sums it up. I don't really need to add to that. It's an amalgamation of lots of really good underground music, basically, and the arts all thrown into one melting pot. That's the bottom line. And the location's pretty fucking killer.
Amazing.
Well, I've always said that, you know, anyone who went to Glade, I don't know if you know about Glade, Ziggy, but it was kind of like the equivalent of Noisily, but before Noisily. It's like Glade V2. And for me, Glade was such a special festival. You know, it's kind of where like a lot of us all met. You know, me and Chris met there, and loads of other people met there. So it is Glade V2. It's a very special. I don't know what the word is really. It's kind of like a very meaningful gathering. So
it's got soul.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what you want. That's what you want in a party these days. I think there's a lot of events that are going one of two ways, or they kind of hit a certain population point where their capacity gets to a size where it's impossible to keep the soul pretty much. I think the size that Noisily is like about 6,000, is it?
Yeah, 5, 6.
Yeah.
It won't be that this year.
That's such a perfect size in my eyes.
Yeah.
Sure.
From what I've seen. The bottom line is that it was built from a lot of underground movements, like from the psychedelic scene to, some elements of the techno bits of it, different amalgamations of movements, underground things from London and outdoor party scenes, all put together in a sort of creative spot. And that's the bottom line, really. And we all get together once a year and celebrate it. So that's the. Hopefully, we can do that for our 9th edition this year.
9th, far out! I didn't realise it was 9 years. I thought it was like 7.
9th next year. I've been with them for 7.
Cool. Because
I was with Glenn before that. So
I see.
And then I've moved to that, and then we've got the 10th edition next year, if we get there.
And so you guys have played it like at Boom and Azora and Noisily, of course. In Australia, you've played at Rainbow and Rabbits and Earth Frequency. After attending all those festivals and playing at all those festivals, what do you feel is what makes a really good festival from an artist perspective?
Good sound system, good stage setup, great dance floor, great crowd. That's pretty much it, really. Great vibe,
I like a diversity of programming. I appreciate, because I've been involved in doing festivals for a long time. I appreciate a sort of somebody. I can see a lineup. I'm looking at it. I can see they've thought about that. That's what I like. But that's before I get there. But obviously, when I get there, there's a whole load of different things. But when I see a festival lineup, like sometimes I've looked at a Rainbow lineup, for instance. I can see where it's coming from there. I'm piecing it all together in my own mind.
That's where Noisily comes into play. It's got that diversity in the lineup. So you can link it back into that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And that is for me. And obviously, I just love it when you get on those dusty dance floors, or you're not maybe dusty in England very often, but you get on those dusty dance floors and you're just fucking moving away, and it's just fucking digging that shit. That's the you can't really put your finger on it. It's just a certain vibe.
It's probably the most important point, though. Yeah,
your Azoras, your Rainbows, your Origin in South Africa, different festivals around the world have got this vibe, and it's quite difficult to put your finger on it. But I can tell you now, not many of them have got it. That's all I can say from experience.
For sure. So if you guys were to put yourselves in the shoes of a punter, what do you think are the most important things about a festival? I'd be interested to hear both of your opinions on this, considering Chris, obviously, that's something your profession focuses on,
Yeah.
You go first. That's your job.
Well, well, it is in essence what I'm about, and what my marketing about is to try and build communities. The communities that are live within the festival environment are essentially what makes it amazing. Where those communities don't exist in some of the commercial festivals is why they feel like they've got no soul. So part of my job throughout the year is to build and bring together these networks and communities, coerce them together and form the festival, but do it in a very subtle way, to make sure, that I think it's very difficult to say what I mean, but to make sure when people get there, they understand each other. They feel comfortable. You feel like you're with friends when you land. You land in the festival, whoever you are. If you're a newbie, you're a 7th or 8th timer at Noisily, you feel like you're part of the community. And this is essentially what I see my job as the marketing person, but honestly, is a community builder more than anything else. That sums it up really from my perspective.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Totally. What do you
As
think?
a long-term, I mean, sound system, definitely. As a sound engineer, sound system for me. Yeah. And also the community, going with your mates, getting set up, having a good party, getting there and getting on it like first night, having a great time. It's about that kind of flow as well. And one thing I would say as well, which is really important, is sort of the programming of the blend of the music throughout the weekend. So it's one thing that a lot of festivals noticed get wrong, and I think it's a really important to get right, is actually how the music flows throughout the weekend. So I remember Glade always did it really well. They'd have a big kind of first night on the Friday, where there'd be like, it would just be kind of balls to the wall rave music, and then Saturday night would be a bit more chill, and then Sunday would be like psychedelic Sunday, and then it would all really come together on that. So programming, good bunch of mates to go with, and sound systems are really important from that perspective.
Definitely.
A very difficult thing to get right in the UK, which is obviously particularly in the southeast corner of the UK, or even up to the Midlands where we are. There ain't a lot of space, and you can't. And how you get that sound right is critical and very difficult. How you achieve it is through luck quite often, with the geography of your location and how it looks.
Totally.
Anyway,
it's pretty difficult to tell how far the sound's going to travel when you first go to a site and look at it.
Yeah, we have sound measurement teams all over the local area.
Yeah, of course.
Beaming in information to us all the time to make sure that we're staying on the levels that we need to be on. It's a balancing act that few achieve well, and we're not. We've got our problems with it. At times.
In the UK, it's not specific to Noiseless. It's kind of like a UK-wide problem. It's just a lot.
For sure.
It's a lot of people in a very small country, basically. So
for sure.
That is
So at a lot of these festivals, obviously you guys are playing as a duo. As a duo, how do you find your dynamics on stage, and what are your roles in performing as a duo?
How do we start this bit?
Well, Chris basically, I mean, the way it's kind of divvied up is that I'll generally be in control of the laptop and the drum machine. And then Chris does all the mixing between all the different channels that I'm chucking into the mixer. So it might be like 3 or 4 at a time. So there's quite a lot for Chris to do, and there's quite a lot for me to do. We've kind of built it up over years. So we started off just like kind of doing it quite basic, a couple of channels going to the mixer, and like it's built up. We've got 3, 4 now. It's a bit more live. So it's kind of it's pretty balanced. Both try to keep ourselves busy. Basically.
Cool. Yeah, it makes sense.
Just the stress of being, just being up there, you're feeling pretty busy.
Yeah, and also the stress of being up there. Well, it's never an easy thing.
It's always, and it is generally having done this a lot on my own over the years. Not so much latterly, but for many years before me and Ben did Nanoplex. Now it is more fun being up there with someone. It is.
Yeah. And also you can the one thing that is great to be up there with the two of us is that you can look at the crowd and you can have a discussion. You go, where do you think the crowd needs to go? So it's like kind of, should we take it in this direction? Should we take it in that direction?
Sometimes we discuss the tunes. Should we go down that path? Or should we go down that path?
Going off down there. Going off down there. How do we make it go off down there? Like it's kind of like there's a constant discussion going on.
And Nanoplex is a live jam on stage in that sense. Sometimes we don't plan. I don't want to plan what we're doing specifically.
Do we? Yeah.
No, we may plan the tune that we're going to start with backstage before we get on stage. We might go, what should we do today? This is some of the biggest gigs we've ever done. We've got a fair idea where we got a few combinations that we like doing, but generally it's just like,
it's a pretty well old tune, but once we get up there, it's yeah, it's anything
and
goes.
we'll often
Really,
change our mind when we get out there.
Look out there.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not doing that. Let's go down this road.
So there's no kind of
what
straight bar or any of that kind of stuff. It's very much on the fly. Very much on the fly.
And that's,
it's very much
like it.
Kind of jam. It's like it's just jamming away. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, and you guys have a catalog big enough to be able to do that, especially if you're only playing a 1.5 hour set, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day in the early days when we did it was more difficult. I have to admit, going up there just.
Yeah, when we're squeezing like an hour's worth out, like back in when
we only had an hour and a half of music in total.
So off stage, what are the roles that you guys play in Nanoplex?
I mean, shall I say Ben? So Ben's very much an engineer, a studio engineer, and we sit in the studio together. Huh? What was that? You right?
Creative and studio engineer, mate.
Well, that's what I meant by that. And although we sit in the studio together, he's very much the man at the controls with that side of things. And I've always sat next to him, and I know what I like as well, music wise. And together we bounce ideas off each other in the plans. We bounce off, I take a much more marketing focused role in the project. Because Ben does his bits and I do my bits, and that is very much how we've divvied it up over the years. And
cool. So there's a bit of yin and yang happening there, where you guys are together.
We have got similar-ish taste in music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we got a similar taste. That's why we got together in the first place. It's like the techno that we like. I don't know anyone that likes as nearer to me as he does. So that's how it works.
For sure. Music brings you together. Makes a lot of sense.
It's the same but different, in the sense that I take
together.
So what are the pieces of equipment that you use when you're playing your set and when you're writing the music?
Ben?
For writing the music, I mean, it's all done. It's primarily done in the box. So I'm using Logic on the Mac, various soft synths, various plugins. I've got Virus TI, which I've been using for ages, but not too much outboard gear, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, the thing is the kit in the box is so good now. When I first started using software synths, they sounded a bit flat and a bit lifeless, but they sound so good now. I have a really fast workflow when I'm in the studio as well. So, and then, we do too. So it's like, why would you kind of break that workflow by messing around with outboard gear when you can get the sort of pretty similar results from gear in the box. When we're up on stage, it's basically Ableton with the drum machine. So it's live jam
nice
machine. And 2-3 decks off Ableton. That's pretty much it.
All run through. All run through a nice sound card, so it sounds nice and fat out there. That's how it's set up basically.
So you guys produce on Logic and you perform on Ableton, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So what is the way that you do that? What we
do with that is obviously we produce the tracks in Logic. And then get the master files, put them into Ableton in the session view. Then we'd have normally 2-3 decks going in that, along with the drum machine as well. So that's kind of how we mix it up. I mean, I've tried to break tracks down into their constituent parts and their stems and that kind of stuff, and actually kind of mix them up live. And we've actually tried to do that as well. It's kind of it's something that we've really, really tried to do, but it just doesn't sound quite as fat as getting the mastered file and putting it in there, and then because it's summed up and it's mastered.
Sure.
And then just jamming on top of the drum machine. It gives it a kind of layer of liveness, if you know what I mean.
The drum machine's really good for when you're mixing between the tracks, keeping a nice rolling rhythm going through, so it just sounds a lot fatter when you're particularly in the mixing part of the track. Just rolling through.
Power moments in between the mixes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just keeps it nice and rolling. And it just keeps it. Yeah, it keeps it grooving. It definitely added to the Nanoplex set when we did it for the first time.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel the same. I do similar thing when I'm playing on the decks. I just like loop a small section of the last track and then just keep that going for as long as I can into the next track. Just having those percussive elements really help create the flow. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's the word. It's progressive, isn't it? It's progressive mixing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Roll it out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys are one of the main duos on IbogaTech. There's also, of course, MVMB and Boundless, who have both caught my attention. They're absolutely amazing as well. Aside from being one of the duo acts on there, what are your roles in IbogaTech?
And initially, when we first started it off, it was actually getting the thing off the ground with the guys. Me and Ben were very much involved in the early discussions about what that was going to be called, because we didn't think, or we weren't sure whether we should call it Iboga anything when it first started. And that the major call with this was, specifically from a market perspective, is do we set something new up, or do we set up something with the Iboga name in it and bring... and obviously the connotations of that, because it's a psychedelic label and a progressive trance label, the connotations of what that involves with it being a techno label. So we eventually settled on the strength of the brand is stronger than it is going to help everything. And when we launched that, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is Iboga, the Iboga sound done in a techno way. Why?
Definitely. The connotation
fuck with that.
Yeah.
Why fuck with it? At the end of the day, sometimes the best marketing is when you just tell people what it is. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Makes sense.
And, there was a certain amount of kind of reaching out and chatting with our peers about whether they had sort of the right kind of music for the label, and we did a certain amount of sort of reaching out and A&R work, but now it's kind of for us, I'd say. Because it's up and running, they're getting so many demos now. That's kind of in hand, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, and the body of music we've released. Ben obviously released a huge amount as Ben Coda. Us less so recently, but over the last recent years, we've released a large amount of music on the label as well. And I think that's our contribution to being part of it as well. That to the music.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And so, how would you describe the sound that IbogaTech goes for as a whole?
Ben.
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. I'd say forward-thinking techno music. Let's put it like that. It's on the cutting edge. I don't want to use the word psychedelic because it's been overused, and I think it's misused quite a lot, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it is misused.
So I think if we say forward thinking, I mean, I don't want to use the word progressive as well because it's been flogged to death. But it is progressive techno music at the end of the day.
Totally.
But let's go with forward thinking techno music.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is what I just said. It's Iboga doing techno. So it's got those elements that you heard in Iboga and what made it a very successful trance label, but it's done in a different format.
Yeah.
I think that sums it up, really. I don't really think it needs to be thought about any more than that, really.
Totally.
It's kind of
that makes sense.
To some stuff, though. When Iboga were doing techno and they were, firing all cylinders in that way. So it's kind of taking it back a little bit to that, but in a way, because there's a lot of new producers out there doing it. So it's kind of it's looking back but going forward. Yeah.
The old Iboga Techno, the stuff that they were releasing in around like 2013, 2014. That was some of the stuff that got me into progressive psychedelic techno completely.
Well, likewise, back in 2007, 8, particularly in the underground parties in London, I remember being one of the first people playing that sort of Kinds and Perfect Stranger when he first started to release the hybrid techno crossover psychedelic stuff in a lot of the underground parties in London. I remember being one of the first people sort of dabbling with that sound. It hadn't really taken foot at that point. And I got massively passionate about that sound, really. That was kind of my driving force into doing this in back in the day. It feels like a long time ago now. I can barely remember it, but must have been good.
Techno with a twist. How about that?
Yeah. Perfect way of saying it.
It's not your bland, boring 4/4 cookie cutter techno, is it? You know, it's got a bit of soul to it, and it's got a bit of life to it, and a bit of energy. You know,
and sometimes, and the way that I see it is the tracks. You could get one, and I remember thinking this when I was playing the other week in Panama. I was just going through my music. I played that for hours. I remember sitting there going, and I'm thinking, I've only got one track by this guy, and all the others are totally not on the right vibe. But this one single track is that vibe, and whatever that is what it is. And I can't really explain what that is. It's just a sound, and I certainly. One of the things, and I know we talked about this, Ben, why we got to when we first got together is I was struggling massively in 2011. My DJ sets was like, I can't find it anymore.
Shit. Let's be perfectly honest about it. It was shit. We went on Beatport and we were like, we can't find any good music. It's all shit. And then we went, well, let's just write it.
That's why Nanoplex started. It's a basic reality of it.
Literally, we could find fuck all good tunes. There were like, none. So yeah.
5 years. I'd had a 5-year run from 2006-7 through to 11 of really good music, and it got shit. I was stuck. What am I supposed to? How can I fucking? What am I just going to play the same tunes for the rest of my life? There's nothing. And the Nanoplex basically was essentially straight out of that, and we didn't even know each other.
Yeah,
classic. It was born out.
Nanoplex was born from the shit. Yes,
awesome. A steaming pile of shit music.
The music was
some flames of shit.
I remember the exact discussion we sat and had in the pub about it. The music shit. Can't fucking find a single good tune. What am I supposed to do? I can't keep on DJing. I can't find any music.
So you mentioned before the UK scene. Obviously, the UK has been one of the birthplaces of raving, of warehouse parties, and one of the driving forces behind house and techno worldwide, pretty much. How have you guys seen the UK scene evolve since you guys were young, being born and bred in the UK, to what it is today?
Ben?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I started going out to raves about 96, 95, 96. So I was 16, sort of 17. And those are some of the most sort of formative in my mind events that I've been to. I used to go to places like the Milton Keynes Sanctuary, which are like really big, aircraft hangar style kind of rave venues, which, we don't really have anymore. And, those parties, they were just out of control. Not out of control in a bad way, out of control in a really good way. Amazing vibes. Everyone was there to party. There weren't guys there hitting on girls and this kind of stuff. It was just everyone was there for the music, and people were so into the music back then. And it's changed since then. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's become a bit more kind of posy, a bit more trendy. All this kind of stuff. And you've probably seen the same thing in Australia. It's kind of. But the soul is still there. This goes back to Noiseless as well. There's still underground movements, and there's still the underground passion and soul there for the music. There's a lot of trendiness, and there's a lot of stuff. I tend to avoid that, to be perfectly honest. It's not my cup of tea. But really, the driving force behind what I do now and what we do now is kind of like looking back to those old parties and how they touched me at the time. And a lot of people talk about kind of having moments on the dance floor, and there's been various moments on the dance floor I've had throughout my life. Before I was DJing, I was producing music, and a lot of those were in those kind of formative years for me. And I kind of look back on them, I just go, it's not how it used to be. You know, I'm not going to say it was better in the olden days, to sound like an old codger or whatever, but like, you know, I've been very much influenced by that old rave movement in the UK, and that's kind of what I try and put into everything that I do now.
Yeah, I agree. I can't really, you know, say anything else on that, but I got into things a lot later than Ben did. Ben started a lot before me. I was sort of...
That's why my hair's falling out.
That's why mine looks like that. That's because I can't go to get it cut anywhere because all the fucking hairdressers are closed, cunts. But anyway, yeah. So basically, Ben got into it a lot before me. I was into sort of other bits and bobs up to about 2000. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my formulative stuff was basically holding and organising outdoor raves. So it's like, I started off in the forests in Kent, which is where I'm from, which is the southeast corner of England. For guys that don't know where Kent is, and we had a massive forest party scene. So every weekend we'd be doing 2,000 or 3,000 people, psychedelic events in the forest, and I was one of the 2 or 3 promoters and organisers, along with like my friend Sarah, who we did Omniscience. And we used to do these parties like once a month in the midsummer for about 5 years, and it got massive. It's where I sort of learned it's where I cut my teeth, so to speak, in this world. And it kind of got out of control, really. We didn't know what was going on. Can't even remember any of it, really, but it was great. And it was a moment. It's called, I think what you call it is, it's a force, just a moment in time. That just happened. It won't happen again like that, and it wasn't happened before quite like that. It was just a movement of people just in that very brief 5 years, and I don't really know how it happened or what was going on. It just sort of...
Not much change. Me too, though.
So when was this?
2004 to 2009. Yeah. And it got massive. It was just a huge movement of every weekend, thousands of people, and we didn't even know what we were doing, really. It just sort of happened around us, and that was what happened. And then by doing that, we learned how to do it, and then you know, you learn how to do things sometimes by doing them and not knowing how to do them, and we just fucking got on with it and put on raves. Next thing you know,
in the Duff scene here, you know, similar sort of thing. Obviously, we're all just out in the forest or in the bush raving, but man, we wouldn't get thousands unless it was actually a legal event. The illegal events were only like a few hundred. Once you kind of get to that like 1,000 to 1,500 threshold, you become legal, because you just can't get away with it here. I would say it's probably more so the same there now as well, right? Like you probably couldn't get away with more.
You can't do what... We had a very lenient chief constable in our county who basically let us get away with it for a long time. And then, well, he was even getting pissed off even then. I mean, he used to come around and come around my parents' house and Sarah's house. To come round, the chief constable of the Kent Police, and warn me or warn my parents. I wasn't even living there at that time. I was going to warn them. You better not be doing another one of those parties again. And this literally happened every year, April. They knew what was going to happen, and we ended up we got chased out of the county. We had to go to the next county. Oh, Jesus! Just giving the police a runaround.
How has the UK sound influenced the Nanoplex sound?
Oh, very much so. I mean, more so in the latest album than the first two. We have really kind of gone back to a bit more of kind of like an urban kind of London setting with the music. You know, we've got elements of garage in there. We've got elements of all sorts of stuff in there. You know, a bit more kind of deep house. You know, a bit more kind of London kind of techno-based stuff. You know, and I think we're going to go more that way. I mean, I'd say personally, you know, we're going more of like a kind of left field direction, as in left field. You know,
Dubia.
If you know Dubia.
Dubia techno.
You know, we've even talked about this. You know, we're going to do a dub album at some point. You know, but
cool.
I think we're sort of we started off doing whatever in inverted commas psychedelic techno or progressive techno, whatever you call it. But I think it's interesting to play with more of these sounds from where we grew up. I spent 20 years in London. Chris, spent a lot of time in London and Southeast. So it's kind of it's in our blood, and it's kind of like we want to play with those sounds a bit more. And it's interesting to bring those sounds to a worldwide arena as well. See how they go down. And they've worked really well.
Yeah, I've noticed sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was just saying the first two albums were certainly probably more influenced by overseas music than our own music. I'd say that's the truth, isn't it?
But it was probably a mindset at the time as well. But I think we were kind of. I don't know. I mean, we made a conscious decision to kind of go a bit more like look at where we've come from and actually reflect that a bit more in the music of the third album. That's definitely
you have a like this industrial, very London theme that kind of carries through as well, right? Like Broken Britain, the album covers are very industrial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
we're both into that kind of artwork. And Chris, do you want to talk about the kind of concept behind Broken Britain? Or?
Well, the whole concept behind Broken Britain was obviously. Little did we know that we'd get more broken in one way or another, but I mean, we called the band Broken World the next one. I don't know. I mean, obviously we were going through the whole Brexit thing at the time. The album was due to be released at the moment we left Britain. It didn't work out like that because we didn't know that it was going to be delayed 60,000 times. But the whole concept is that, there was a real feeling of disparity between people in the UK in the years building up to the years we wrote the album. We wrote it over 2 years, probably like 2 sittings, like a lump of tunes in 2017, maybe 18. Yeah, 18, and then we wrote another batch in 2019. So it's sort of like 2 bits. Am I right in saying that, Ben? We did.
Yeah, absolutely. Brexit still hasn't happened, right? Yeah, exactly. And it was a period of massive uncertainty in the country, and it's like, and Britain. Yeah. We're not wrong in saying that Britain did get broken in half. Pretty much, it got split down the middle. And a lot of kind of, from my perspective, it got turned into a pretty nasty place in some ways because, a lot of this kind of underhand racism and stuff came out that I personally really don't agree with in the slightest. But it, because of the Brexit vote, it got turned into like a, it became normal. When you step outside of the big metropolitan centres, out of London, Bristol, Brighton, wherever, you get out of those places. It wasn't very nice, and it still isn't very nice. And
the division kind of became normal.
Division became like kind of the norm, and it got played upon by politicians. And it's a very sad state of affairs. It really was, and it still is.
I'm trying to reflect that in the album and the title and the artwork of which is actually of Tower Bridge being built in 1881. I think 1885. I think that photo was from of it not being joined. It was kind of an artistic interpretation of where we saw Britain at that moment in time. The irony is that I just wanted to bring up one point on that. The irony is that right now I'm actually seeing a lot of things coming out of what's going on particularly in the UK, where communities are coming together much more. And I know it's terrible, it's shit what's going on, but I can actually see people being people again, and the UK being a little bit more joined up in the way that it's approaching things.
Wow!
Just an interpretation of how I'm seeing it right now. But
it's definitely
looking at the silver lining, people are coming together a bit more and sort of like helping each other. In some ways it's bringing out the worst in people. In some ways, it's bringing out the best. But
I think the current situation of COVID-19 is basically kind of forcing this shift in consciousness that we all need in the community as well. Shifting
how are your consciousness and community.
Hey,
how are your bog roll supplies doing over there?
Velcro supplies. Oh,
Bog roll. Toilet roll.
There's still. The shelves are still empty every single day that I go to the shops.
No, check this out. I managed to get
people still
after a bog roll yesterday. Yeah.
It's like people are getting nervous using more at the same time, so they can just go buy more or something. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, hasn't everyone stocked up on the toilet paper yet? It's crazy.
How much do you need? I mean,
exactly.
Exactly. I mean, I just think it's ridiculous. This the first I heard of this was Australia doing it, and it's a trend that came over here. It's like you've given us a lot. I don't know. Yeah. You gave us toilet. It actually
started in Australia, didn't it? We started seeing it in Australia, and then it came over here, and then the supermarket shelves are clear. Well, they're saying that we did manage to source a 4-pack of bog roll yesterday, first one in 3 weeks.
Oh my God. I just happened to be very lucky when I went into a supermarket the other day, and I think it was about 11 a.m. and they just restocked the shelves because it had all sold out from then. So I was able to buy a large packet, which I was very thankful for.
Wow.
Lovely.
Well, small thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Worldwide diseases make you appreciate toilet paper so much.
Yeah. I still have no idea.
Going back to the whole theming around Nanoplex, with Nanoplex, you also have this consistency of having some super whack names like Captain Normal Face and Nanka Felge and Another Crap Rave. I absolutely love these names. Where do these names come from?
Well, Captain Normal Face was actually a lot worse than that before.
Yeah. There was a lot. I don't think we. Right, no.
We can't talk about that.
Captain Normal Face was just us and Grouch kind of coming up with weird names. Another Crap Rave was written after we had been to another Crap Rave that we played at, and we
makes sense. I thought that could have been the case. I had to double check that.
We drove home from the rave. It was crap. The sound system was terrible.
Just crap.
It was crap, and we just said we're not playing any more of these crap raves. We're going to play good parties from now on.
Now, what about the next one we've got coming up? The next single we've got is called Scratch Face Lane.
Scratch Face Lane, which
is actually named after a real road in England that we drove past.
So basically, we were stuck on the M4 going to a gig. I can't even remember what gig it was. It was in Bristol. Yeah. It's obviously about 3 hours west of London, so we were just stuck. And I think there had been an accident, so we were stuck, bomb, not moving, fucked. And it just so happened that this bridge going across, I can't even remember how we saw the word Scratch Face Lane.
On left, and it was called Scratch Face Lane.
Yeah, it's just there.
Called Scratch Face Lane. It was just there. Make a note of it. We're gonna write a tune after that, and we did.
And it's a great. A great name for a track. I mean, I'd love to live on Scratch Face Lane. It's just I want to know why that's called Scratch Face Lane. I want to know the history of that shit. I want to know what cunt got scratched in the face, and was he the first guy who walked up there?
Really?
Maybe it was Normal Face. Maybe it was Captain Normal Face.
Then it could be.
Something happened, and he just scratched his face.
Yeah. To be honest, a lot of the track names were named after specific situations, or like one of the classic ones is Sofa Surfer. I was fucking sofa surfing for England at one point, not that long years ago.
I'm still on my sofa when that was written. And we decided to call it Sofa Surfer. Yeah.
I basically had nowhere to live. I was on the sofa permanently at various residences, mainly beds. And that was it. Sofa Surfer was born out of that. So a lot of the track names are born out of reality, basically, and various films and things that we were watching, or just random shit,
shit, mainly, and just stuff. Yeah.
Farm Division, that book you had on your bookshelf.
Oh my dad gave me that book. Yeah. It's about
the area of India.
Yeah.
These little things, and it's always appealed to me. I like to have it gives music some meaning.
Of course.
In essence,
So we're going to be hearing or reading a lot more of these names in the album you guys are currently producing.
Well, album.
We're working on an album at the moment. It's taking it a while because we've obviously had a lot going on. But yeah, it's in the works.
And we can't, the fact we can't sit in the same room at all.
We can't. Yeah, exactly. So that might kick off in about 6 months' time, depending on how long we've got done for.
We've got singles.
We've got about 4 singles that are on the brew at the moment. We've got one that's done, Scratch Face Lane. We've got Antics remixing it. Just heard back from Antics tonight.
Antics. As their Out of Sorts project.
No, actually, as Antics.
As Antics.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. That'll be the first Antics that's been released in like 7 years or something.
Literally, I heard back from him just before this interview started. So that's happening. We've got a few singles. So to fill in the gap between the albums, we've got a single, and then the next album, who knows? I think
we needed a bit of space.
We needed a bit. Well, we both got a lot of projects going on as well at the moment. So we've taken a bit of time out. We're doing some singles. And we're gonna move back into it. I mean, personally, I'm up for doing something a bit more dubby. We'll see what comes up. That's kind of
Be that later in the year. I mean, let's be honest. Right now, the world's on hold. We can't even do much at all. So we've got these singles coming up. We're gonna release a few of them. Get some decent remixes in for the singles as well, just to spice it up a little bit when we release them. Some nice artists that have Antics. Fucking big influences on both me and Ben, so of course we want to ask them to do it, and just do it like that really for the time being.
Cool.
At the end of the day, we released the body of 3 albums in a very short period of time.
Definitely,
you can't just keep doing it. You need a bit of a break from each other as much as anything, and then eventually we'll get back on it again. And that's how I see it.
But when we get back on it again, it's going to be we'll be in different not different anything I think, but we'll come back with different ideas about the music we want to write. So it's I think I say I'm up for going a bit more left field if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. And
we've already talked about this, and a bit more kind of like those underworld kind of vibes going in there, and
cool.
So switching up.
I tried to make a start on it at the end of last year, and I think we both realised that we weren't ready to do that at that point.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
We just come off the back of a massive summer of gigs, and it was just like, and we had a lot going on. Yeah.
We just weren't there. We just weren't in the headspace to do Nanoplex at that point. Yeah. In the future, we've got these singles coming out, and then we'll hit it again. Yeah. But as it is, we've got a huge body of music that we just we haven't even, a lot of which has not, some of which has not all been played out yet even.
We would have been playing right now. But,
we were fully intended to play Aussies right now. So,
yeah.
It's a fucking game, man.
The flow of producing is so important, and also being creative with the different formats that you're releasing. You've done several albums before, and now doing a few singles and focusing on collaborating or getting people to remix you. Seems like it makes a whole lot of sense for exactly where you guys are at right now. Pretty much, and it's the same vice versa. Like, you guys have actually done the opposite of what most do. Most electronic producers these days are releasing singles and EPs, and then they work towards an album. But it makes sense that you guys would kind of take a step back now and reevaluate before taking another step forward.
You've got to remember, it's also the amount of time that we spend together on the road, all over the place. You just got to fucking take a break. I'm not going to deny it. That's what happens. I don't think me or Ben would deny that that's reality. And sometimes
at the same time, it's not that we don't have projects going on. I've been running a night down in Brighton, so Shift. I've been working a lot of my own stuff because, I've needed to write some more Ben Coda music. I've been working on stuff with Nick Katie. We've got this new project called Carbon Kingdom going on. Yeah. Chris is setting up new festivals like left, right, and centre. So it's kind of like and running club events. So we've we've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm also working. Chris has also got other work going on. So it's like it's good to take stock for a little bit and actually come back You know, when we've had
I think I really passionately believe that when we come back to Nanoplex properly, you know, when we really we decide we're going to do this album, whatever it is, when we hit it again properly, I think it'll be great. And I'm really looking forward to when that moment comes and we decide to really focus on a new album again or whatever it is.
I think personally when lockdown restrictions get lifted, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to getting into that. I've got a couple of bits that I'm doing with Ken from Audio Anonymous that we've been working on, which is a totally different vibe and sound as well. You know, we kind of been dabbling in and out of it for the last year almost, and I'm kind of happy with it finally. And I'm going to chuck that out there and got some good remixes for that as well, and we'll see what happens with that. It's just some new ideas, you know. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Exciting stuff on the cards. Well, guys, this has been absolutely awesome. As you guys are aware, we have you lined up to be touring in November for the Rabbit Seat Lettuce Postponed Festival, which is their collaboration with their sister festival, Bohemian Beat Freaks. So we're super looking forward to actually getting you guys here. Oh my God, the tension is building, and having another awesome tour. The last couple of tours we've had with you guys have been so awesome. Yeah, so we're really excited to have you here. And
I'm just looking for you've got to be able to leave the house first.
Yeah.
Looking forward to getting some bog rock, Chris, aren't you? Yep.
Imagine those future days when you could get on a plane, go and play music. There's bog rolls in the
days. I'm dreaming about the days.
Those Halicon days of when just shit's normal.
Yeah, totally. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely awesome. I'm super stoked.
Sweet.
Speak
to you later.
Speak to you later, bro. Take it easy.